Welcome everyone. This is a re-recording of the demo we did this morning on our Foolish Tech Show 1609-05. This will hopefully allow you to see everything that we actually did there, but if you want to learn more about what we're talking about here and what's going on, go back and check out that show. I think the first 45 minutes we spend talking about it and going over what we did here. So I'm going to start it off first by reprogramming the ducky and then executing a payload that automatically runs, and then going back and flashing the ducky again, executing a second payload that launches something off the Twin Ducky USB storage side. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Alright, so first I'm going to do is hold down the button on the rubber ducky and plug it into my USB here. You should only get like a little quick flash of red and then nothing, so you kind of know it's in DFU mode, but if we go ahead and run dmessage, we'll see that it ends up showing as the chipset, I guess, in DFU mode. So now we'll go ahead and run a couple commands to erase it. And then we're going to flash the mduck v2 firmware. And I can show you some of the other firmwares here since I did do that this morning. So that's a list of the firmwares that you have available that you can go ahead and flash the ducky with. And we are doing the M2 one. So then we're going to reset the DFU mode. And now my light is showing up red. So next I'm going to make sure the inject.bin I have on here is the one I'm looking for. Alright, then I'm going to put that SD card into the ducky, and we are going to switch over to my other system here. Alright, so now I'm just going to place the USB Rubber Ducky into my system here. You can kind of see it there. And with this firmware, everything should just launch and start running right away. There we go. And you can see it taken off there. So essentially what this one's doing is first it tries to find a drive letter for the ducky, which it doesn't need it in this case because we actually write the batch file completely with keystroke injection and then have it execute this batch file, and you saw it launched a administrator command prompt to do so. This is just a quick little tool that Nick wrote that will fill up your hard drive to assist you in securely overwriting your hard drive. Essentially it just creates a text file and then writes it to itself over and over and over again until the hard drive is full, and then you can go back and write zeros to that drive, and that gets you pretty good security on data recovery things. So that was the first test. Now we'll flip back over to our system, but you can see it even, I didn't cancel it, it canceled itself after a pre-programmed amount of time. And then yeah, so that one worked. So now we're going to go over back to our system here, and we are going to take our ducky out. And this time we're going to load it with the Twin Duck firmware. So same process, I'll take the USB, press the button in, put it in, got a quick flash of red. Now we're going to erase it. Then we're going to flash the Twin Duck firmware. And we want the 4-cap one. That one's going to execute the payload once we tap the control lock 4 times. Then we're going to reset it to get it out of DFU mode. And now we're going to put our other firmware on here, and we'll also note that we have a executable that's been on this SD card this whole time. So this over here is actually, I forgot to mention, the Hack 5 Ducky encoder. You can see there the version number off their GitHub. This one is the only one I was able to get working with the Twin Duck firmware. I was using that online decode Ducky thing, but it was not working very well with the Twin Duck firmware. So this is actually my preferable route because it's a little bit nicer, I feel. So we just wrote the new inject.bin for the Twin Duck setup, and we're going to go ahead and replace that there. It is good to note that you do need to make sure that for the Twin Duck firmware you don't have, I think it's more than 2,000 keystrokes. Darren had mentioned somewhere that your inject.bin should be under 4 kilobytes, so just to be aware of that. But essentially what this is going to do is this is going to show up as a USB drive as well as the HID setup, and because of that you can use your script to, say, launch a command prompt administrator style, bypass UAC, and then launch several of your executables. If you were doing something with a what could be considered malicious file, you would probably want to obfuscate it so that antivirus and things like that don't flag it. But alright, we got the inject.bin for our new setup there. Going to eject the SD card and flip over to our other system here. Alright, so I'm putting the SD card back into the Rubber Ducky, and we're popping it in our system here. If you ever have a laptop with these pull down things, absolutely terrible way to do things. But you can see that it is detecting my Rubber Ducky flash drive and giving it a letter this time. Now if we tap the control button 4 times, it's going to start the payload, and hopefully the timing is working out like it should this morning. This morning on the show we had a bit of a difference where it the tabs didn't go through, so I may have to edit the script, which wouldn't be bad to show off here either. So, alright, we can see there that it uses WMIC to find the drive letter that has my Rubber Ducky, and then uses that as an environment variable to launch our exe that is on the drive. So we can see it's launching now. And I did have some timing issues. So right now the Rubber Ducky is still running. It's just in a delay, I think 60,000. So it should be waiting for 60 seconds for D72 SFX Mini to get up and running and start up and be ready to move on. Alright, so we got D72 up and started here. And I believe it's the rubber ducky is still in its delay 60 seconds here. Because essentially at this point what I did is I went through and programmed in a bunch of tab and right arrow and then tab and delays so that everything would go through correctly, and we can get auto mode started here automatically without ever having to touch the keyboard other than putting the flash drive in, so, or starting it with the caps lock key 4 times a minute. Alright, so it did move over. Looks like I had a couple more tabs than needed there. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to show you how to debug something like this. So we can see the tab ended up getting all the way to this all. So we're going to put our tab box back there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there should be 11 tabs, and then we would want it to hit enter to start auto mode. So let's switch back over to our system where we're setting all this up. And here I have that script. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. You can see here's where it's delayed and waits for D72 to start loading. These tabs look like they're alright because it's going through correctly. The right arrows are looking alright because it's getting to there. But now we want to make sure that we have 11 tabs here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we do have 11 there. Possibly these delays in between are causing a hang up. So let's try taking those out. I could just REM these to remark them out, but I didn't think of that until halfway through now, so oh well. But again, this is a good time to point out, like I mentioned this morning, that it is very difficult to work out timings and things like that if you're trying to use click controls or a keyboard to do everything, especially with the rubber ducky being able to input it so fast. That's why I had to add some delays like you see in there. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we do have 11 in there. And we're going to save this. Go back to our encoding script. So we recompiled our inject.bin there. I just took the SD card out of the rubber ducky, actually left it plugged in here. And we're going to drop this inject.bin onto our system here. That's good. Pull that out. Pull the SD card out, and we're going to flip back over to our other system here. Just sliding the SD card in to the rubber ducky there. You can see Windows actually detected it again. I'm just going to close out a D72 here. And this admin command prompt, and we're going to hit the caps lock key 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it should start up its payload again. Nope, it did not like doing that. So let's try pushing the button. Nope, did not like doing that. So we do have to pull the ducky out and put it back in again. And there we go. And by the way, what I was meaning is these USB drives, or the USB ports here, have like this little drop down thing. And this is the one I use all the time, which is severely deformed and extremely hard to get the key in, but I didn't want to mess up the other side, so I'll just continue using that side. So now I got the ducky in again, and we're going to hit the caps lock 4 times. That launches our payload. Which will have the same process go through here, and we should see D72 start up, and hopefully the timing works out correctly. So right now in the script we're about at that 60-second delay, and essentially I was trying to give it enough time to fill up the system info page no matter what was happening, and we could even start like right now and figure out a better timing to kind of cut down on that delay, but in at least 30 seconds or less it should start tabbing around and going to the malware removal tab. But when I had first gotten the Ducky, one of the things I had thought I might do was try automating things like a Windows install, because it would be pretty sweet to plug a USB device in and have it go through all the steps and enters and prompts and things with a average window install without having to do anything other than plug the Rubber Ducky in. So some of the other firmwares are interesting. I think there is one that allows it to even pick up at boot time, so you can use code injection at boot. Let's see, it made it that far. Oh, it did make it to the auto mode, so you can see start auto mode is now turned to stop auto mode, and it is currently running our auto mode. So you can see some of the timing issues that you have to deal with if you're trying to use these click-through or control things. Nick, it also mentioned it depends on the programmers and tab control being updated and various things like that. But it worked in this situation. Again, if it was a slower computer or something else was wrong with it or things were popping up outside of it, that would mess up that entire flow and things would just go crazy if you had it programmed to keyboard inject things. So just some warnings on that, but thought it was an interesting demo to show off the abilities of especially the Twin Duck firmware. So the D72 SFX Mini could be any EXE that you want to start and load up real quickly. So there we have it. That's going to finish and run just like normal. So to finish up this one, I'll go ahead, and at this time the Ducky's completely done, so D72 would just start off and I could go do the same thing on another computer. But we'll show off the case that it comes with in this video as well here. And that is the USB Rubber Ducky. So we got that set up here, and looks like just a regular flash drive, and this is how you probably would normally use it. I did get tired of taking it in and out of the case a lot, So what I actually did is I went in and, you can barely see there, I put the little hole right here. There we go. So I put a little hole there for the LED that flashes and indicates the ducky status kinda, and then I also put another hole in this case right here where I can get to that GPIO button and start my payloads that way if I need to use that button or reflash it with the DFU. That's also really another nice thing about having the twin duck firmware is you can just put it into your system and not launch the payload, but be able to edit your inject.bin without having to take it out, put it in the SD card and all that stuff. So that is it. Thanks everyone for watching this much quicker, much shorter video. If you wanted more information and more links about what's going on here and what all was done and why, check out our show from this morning, 1609-05. And we spend a lot more time talking about some of the other things the ducky can do, some alternatives to the rubber ducky that you can try making yourself. Again, nothing is going to be as good as what you get for the price that you get here. So highly recommend you check that out at the Hack Shop, hack5.org. And yeah, thanks for the Hack5 team for coming out with such awesome stuff. All right, later.